Yeah, this is for educational purposes only. Not making any money off of this, right? This is only for the edifying and education purposes only. Yeah. Brakatah Yahweh. Brakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ruach Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. The elder apostles in Connecticut, to the bishop, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To your sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson.
Everybody needs to wake up. Wake up right now. It is happening. America is under attack, but not in the way that you think it is. What we're witnessing isn't just violence. It's a massive psychological operation being run on the American people by the very agencies that are supposed to protect us. And it's working. People are falling for it. 24 hours before Congress certifies Trump's presidency. Last night, I received an email from my friend, Colonel Douglas McGregor, friend of the show. You guys know him well. And his words have been ringing in my head ever since. He said, Clayton, when something makes no sense, chances are it does not. And let me tell you, the story we're being fed about these twin terror attacks in New Orleans and Trump Tower in Vegas doesn't make any sense at all.
Chaos in New Orleans. A New Year's celebration ends tragically as a truck drives into a crowd of people on Bourbon Street.
The FBI is sifting through tips to find out why a highly decorated Army soldier blew up a Tesla Cybertruck outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas.
So let's unpack what's really going on here. Two attacks in just a matter of hours. One in New Orleans, one in Las Vegas. The timing, the narratives, the contradictions. It's all too convenient. And all of this is happening just 15 days before Donald Trump takes office. Coincidence? I don't think so. Before diving into these specifics of these so-called terror attacks, it's critical to understand the larger picture here, okay? America's deep state created Al-Qaeda. It created ISIS. This isn't speculation. It's documented fact. The deep state funds, trains, and supports these groups, using them as tools to destabilize regions, execute regime change operations, and justify endless wars. Just look at Al-Qaeda and what they did to the regime change operation carried out by the CIA in Syria last month. This was done before Trump takes office on purpose, people. Wake up. It forces Trump's hands into a war against Iran. And yet, what are we hearing from the conservative media right now? They're conveniently forgetting all of this. Instead, they're parroting the narrative that ISIS has somehow infiltrated the United States to carry out these attacks, that Iran has now snuck man-pad missiles into the United States to shoot down American planes.
But we had two solid sources, one south of the border and then one from an element within our own government that confirmed independently of each other that some Iranian-made man-pads, so surface-to-air missiles, had come across the border.
So we now have Iranian missiles. Who knows how many?
And
inside the United States.
That is not something you're going to see in a lot of places. I didn't even want to talk about it.
That's exactly the story the CIA wants them to tell. And when one of these missiles takes down an American airliner, Americans will be so furious they'll demand that Trump goes to war against Iran. Just look at this NBC headline this morning. A perfect storm, extremism, online, political polarization are increasing risk of attacks, experts say. Experts, yeah. And just 2 days ago, we learned that Jake Sullivan has laid out plans to bomb Iran for President Biden, something he's actively considering before Trump takes office. Good. So we'll have a full-fledged war on our hands that Trump will need to deal with. Great. Let's be clear. This is happening because the CIA is orchestrating it. As former CIA agent Michael Scheuer has explained to me a few weeks ago, this is their strategy. They use what he called dumb Muslims in their operations, people who are expendable, easily manipulated, perfect scapegoats for creating false flags.
They may be finished, Clayton, with shooters, but not with a truck bomb or an aerial weapon of some kind. And they can blame it on anybody. They've got all the gangsters in the country they need, and they can set them up. The FBI specialty is setting up Muslim terrorists.
Now let's get into the bizarre facts surrounding both of these cases. As Colonel McGregor pointed out to me in an email, when something makes no sense, chances are it does not. So let's start with the Tesla truck explosion in Las Vegas. The suspect, an 18-year Special Forces veteran, Matt Livelsberger, with the highest level of security clearance, is an incredibly unlikely candidate for this type of attack. According to sources in the military, he was a top-notch guy who was very close to retirement. He spent 18 years in the Special Forces, not just 2 or 3. People like him don't just wake up one day, make a hard left, carry out a sudden act of violence. He was more than capable of constructing a far more sophisticated explosive device. The crude fireworks and fuel setup in the Tesla truck just doesn't align with his training. My 12-year-old could have done a better job. There's no record of political extremism either. Reports say he was a Trump supporter who loved the United States. We now know he was a reality TV star, next to U.S. Special Forces star Tim Kennedy.
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim from the U.S. Army Special Forces.
Okay, so now, think about it. We've got a guy in a BlackRock commercial as part of the first Trump shooter. We got a guy who was a part of an Azov battalion promo video in Ukraine, was the second attempted Trump shooter. Now this guy was a reality TV star on a History Channel show? What? And the coup de grace? Livelsberger was shot in the head with a Desert Eagle handgun before the bomb went off. Okay.
We also discovered through the coroner's office that the individual had sustained a gunshot wound to the head prior to the detonation of the vehicle.
Yes, he was dead in the Tesla truck before the bomb was activated. But wait a second. Last night, new video emerges showing Matt Livelsberger in the Tesla truck, his head moving right before the explosion goes off. But the FBI told us he was shot in the head with a .50 caliber handgun that would have blown his entire head off. They are liars, of course. And most importantly, after the bombing, his Signal account was changed. Okay, what the F? None of this adds up, and yet we're being asked to accept it without question? My question is this guy still alive? The body was burned beyond recognition. Beyond that, Livelsberger allegedly sent an email to multiple conservative news outlets where he explained that he witnessed the U.S. military carrying out war crimes in Afghanistan back in 2019, and that these drones all over the U.S. right now are using advanced gravity propulsion technology, basically UFO technology. He told Sam Shumate, who then appeared on the Sean Ryan podcast, that this information would change humanity.
He said, what I'm going to send you, now these are literally his words, what I'm going to send you is going to change the course of humanity. That was his phrase, change the course of humanity.
Okay, guys, what does the CIA want you to believe right now? And what is actually the truth? Friend of the show, Laura Logan, says this, quote, you don't have to be a genius to spot that this email is filled with media talking points and smacks of a staged cover-up, from civilian casualties, war crimes, to drones on the East Coast. There's something for everyone here. I would bet good money this guy never wrote a single word of this crap. And then there's the New Orleans attack. Within 24 hours of the attack, New York Post reporter in yoga pants was somehow granted access to the alleged killer's apartment. There, she filmed a walk and talk showing off a conveniently staged scene with a Quran, radical manifestos, neatly arranged plans, all right there in the apartment. How does this happen? Who allowed her into the crime scene so quickly? Why wasn't the same courtesy extended in Butler, Pennsylvania, where the FBI cremated Trump's alleged shooter without notifying his family, wiped his apartment totally clean?
Just very unkempt in here. If we go over here, actually, you can see the Department of Justice documents here, the search.
This isn't journalism, this is theater, orchestrated to sell the American people a prepackaged narrative. The FBI called this reporter 12 hours after they had a secure crime scene to say, hey, come on over here and film yourself. What? Who benefits? It's clear who benefits from regime change wars and terror in the United States. These aren't random events, they're calculated moves in a much larger game. As journalist Whitney Webb explains, this is all part of the plan. You'll be told that digital ID, digital surveillance, money, and Palantir big data pre-crime algorithms are the only way to stop the terror attacks. And it would be disturbing to see how many fall for the ruse, don't give in to the fear, and don't consent. So Whitney sums it up perfectly. These attacks and the fear they create aren't just about control, they're a sales pitch for digital IDs, surveillance, currencies, algorithmic pre-crime systems that promise to keep us safe while robbing us of every last shred of freedom. This chaos, this fear, this destruction of trust in institutions, it's all part of a larger operation to centralize power, take away your buying power, right? They want a centralized digital currency. Don't give in to this fear. Don't consent to it. That's the news update part of today's video. Now I want to tell you about today's sponsor, which is tied.
Yeah, so this is Job chapter 10, verse 22. It says, and a land of darkness, right, which is America, Babylon the Great, is that land of darkness, as darkness itself, and of the shadow of death, right? Because America is also known as the valley of the shadow of death, right? Basically, that's what King David was speaking of when he was speaking about the valley of the shadow of death, which is speaking about America without any order. See, and this that place where things are gonna get hectic with all these different psyops and things that's happening, false flags and psyops are happening, like I said, whether real or fake, because real people will die, but it's rather if it's a psyops or not, right? And then that'll basically put the fear in people. Basically, that's what he was saying. It put the fear in people, and then fear allows people to make irrational decisions and willing to give up their freedom for so-called safety, right? So that's the time that we're living in. But before that all happens, what things have to be without order. Things gonna have to go out of order, right? Chaotically. Things are gonna be all helter skelter. Things are gonna be happening. Things are uncertain. Things in life, right? Uncertain whether you will live, right? With all the so-called pandemic things that's happening. You got the, different H1N1s, flus, swine, right? The CV19. You got all these different things of uncertain, whatever, right? And that's what most people do not like, uncertainties, which life never gives you certainties. So life in itself, without any of all that extra stuff, is pretty scary. And where the light is as darkness, see, and that's this place, man. Your greatest, brightest people are really not all that bright, man. This is a place of the American dream, the hope of the American dream. But even within that hope of a so-called a better life, there's always some type of tragedy or something tied to this place, man. Right? So let's do it in the amplified version. And it says the sunless land of utter gloom as darkness itself, right? Which is speaking about the conditions. There's miseducation. You have the lowest educational system in the world here in Babylon the Great, right? Right. It says the land of the shadow of death, and you got the greatest death toll of any country in the world, though we're the youngest and though we have the smallest population out of any country in the world. The death toll is higher than any place in the world here in Babylon the Great, in America, spiritually Sodom, spiritually Egypt, spiritually Nineveh, right? Spiritually Assyria, right? Right? So, and in that place, what's going to happen, right? In order for them to to get what they want, it's a thing called order out of chaos, right? So what do you need to get the order out of chaos? You have to have, without order, you have to have unorder, chaos. You got to have chaos without order, and where it shines, right? Saying this is how bright things are. There shines where it shines as the thick darkness, right? Yeah, so this is Joel 2, verse 2. It says, a day of darkness, so the day of Yaqub's trouble, of Jacob's trouble, what they call Jacob's trouble, which is really Yaqub, right? Which you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians fall under the line and the lineage of Yaqub, or Jacob, which wrestled with an angel, and his name became Israel, and you are the descendants of the nation of Israel, right? But you don't know that. So you're in that time, a lot of you are in that day of darkness and gloominess, right? The time of judgment, not knowing who you are, right? Without a clear understanding of who you are, right? You're darkened in the mind, the understanding, miseducated here in America. Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, the place that spiritually is the shadow of death, which is spiritually Sodom, which is spiritually Egypt, right? Which is spiritually Syria, right? Spiritually Nineveh, right? That place of great judgment, right? Because even though the people in Nineveh repented the first time, later on the Lord destroyed Nineveh, right? Right? So, you know what I'm saying? A day of thick clouds, right? And they just had something about a fog, right? And people were saying that the birds and the animals were flipping out within this fog, right? And it says, and of thick darkness, mists like the dawn spreading over the mountains, right? The government, right? Mountain meaning government, right? And there is a pagan, right? And that's what you be doing. You be celebrating these pagan holidays, Christmas, Halloween, right? Easter, all these pagan holidays and things. And so basically you people are pagans, right? Hostile people, right? See, and that's basically being what? Out of order. Hostile people, numerous and mighty, like the like of which has never been seen before, neither will be again afterwards, even for years, for many years, for years and many generations, right? Which is ultimately talking about the missiles, right? But in retrospect of this being what the day of the Lord's judgment, right? You are going to be a lot of pagan, hostile people, right? Yeah. So this is Luke 6:16. Yeah, hey, this Luke 16, this amplified version, go in, man. This is crazy. It says, watch this. It says, and his master, right? The out of one, which is talking about, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? Yeah, his master commanded the unjust steward, which goes into the unjust manager, right? Which steward goes into, basically being a manager or landlord, right? because that's ultimately what Esau is, right? The earth was given into the hands of the wicked, right? Job 9:24. Earth was given into the hands of the wicked. He covered the face of the judges thereof. If not, and where is who is he? And this guy is just to be a manager of the world, of the earth, but he's unjust in how he manages the world. Not for his misdeeds, but because he had acted shrewdly, right? Let's look up that word shrewdly.
Shrewdly.
Shrewdly, a way that showeth sharp power of judgment, astutely, right? And how do Esau judge, right? His whole thing is to come down with great wrath, knowing that he had but a short time. And then when he judges, he doesn't judge fair. That's what it said. It's an unjust manager or unjust steward, right? Unjust management of the world, right? Right. He'll give Jake more time for the exact same crime as an Edomite or even another nation, right? You might have a Hamite, right? Dark-skinned, black, blue, purple looking Hamite. I mean, he's so black he's blurple. But let him be on the side of Jake, and they're gonna give Jake more time, and they're gonna give him a slap on the wrist because why? Because they know that they're not Israel, right? So they just sharply and shrewdly, and they do it with power, but it's always unjustly, and it's always for the sake of their own self, for their own greed, right? You go around policing the world, but it's only so you can get the resources of the world, right? Though you have plenty of resources at your own home, right? Why in the world would Biden stop oil pumping and things here in America when you can get your own oil? Why would you do that? See? But that's unjust, right? Yeah. So shrewdly, by preparing for the future, right? Preparing for the future by preparing for his future unemployment, right? Hey, and ultimately that's what they're doing. More and more jobs and things are going where you had the party city, right? Which that's definitely a nomen omen to this place, man. All the party and all the mirth is finished with America, man. Right? So all these companies are going belly up, which is causing more unemployment. And at the same time causing unemployment, they're bringing in these so-called things, what he was saying, the psyops. Oh, just conveniently, this lady was let into the apartment of the dude. When could you ever do that? And like he said, everything's just conveniently laid out. Oh yeah, this is how can you look at police documents and you're not a police officer, right? This lady was able to walk in and look at police documents and all sorts of things within the home of a so-called suspect. I mean, sometimes it takes them days on end investigating a thing. So you mean, like you said, not even 12 hours later, this lady was able to walk into the home? Man, see, they're preparing this thing for all you Americans to be unemployed, right? For his future of unemployment, for the sons of this age, the unbelievers are shrewd in in relation to their own kind, right? Which is white supremacy. So they know what this is all about. There's so many police officers that been arrested saying that they can't wait to the race wars, right? You got a lot of police officers that that they're saying that they're these Proud Boys. They're these so they're prepared. A lot of them prepared for themselves. You got a lot of preppers. You got a lot of people who know that the race wars is coming, and they're prepared for all these things. Jake is the only one walking up and down the street doing absolute nothing with a goddamn radio. Still, like this is 1980. Like I seen that, I was out there teaching, and the dude, it's just had his radio and the speaker, and he's blasting the speaker and breakdancing on the little on the light rail platform. Just going nowhere, just finished. This is Jake, but they're prepared, and they know about their own until they're shrewd amongst their own people, right? In relation to their own kind, right? Because they'll judge you. Oh yeah, you like those black people? Oh, you about that? that is to the ways of the secular world. That is to the ways of the secular world, right? The unbelievers, right? That pagan, those pagan people, right? Right? Because that's what secular world means. Secular world basically goes into pagans, right? Then are the sons of light, right? Which you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. You're meant to be the sons of light. Which prove that they actually know that. Because there you go. Because that's what Apostle Gabar always says. He always said that when it says the children of Israel, it means sons. It don't need to be it don't need to say children. It need to be sons. Bun Yasharala, a bun yum Yasharala. So that's what this did. Bum yum of the light, right? The sons, the believers, right? And that's basically ultimately what they're saying. See, because it says the unjust steward, because he had done wisely for the children or the sons of this world, are wiser than the children or the sons of light, because they know what's going on. They're bringing down the economy, this and that. They're plucking it all apart. Uncertainty, where your next meal is going to come from, where you're going to be able to sleep at, where you're going to be able to have a home, whatever you're going to be able to do. To have a place to live, right? Basically uncertainty. If you're going to be able to be safe, right? Yeah. So this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 2, amplified version. I'm gonna keep going in this amplified, because it seemed like it'd be hidden. It says, for you yourselves know perfectly well that the day of the return of the Adawan is coming, just as a thief cometh unexpectedly and suddenly in the night, while they are, right? Because everybody's in this gross darkness, right? Dark. It says the other one says when you go into the other one, it says something about I think it's in the NLT. I believe it's in the NLT. It says thick as midnight, right? And that's talking about the gross darkness of the people, or the and that specifies this place, man. It's this darkness, right? And the night is what? Darkness, right? It says in the night, while they are saying peace and safety, right? And that's ultimately what Trump is saying. Hey, look, I'm gonna come in there and I'm gonna. Everybody's talking about this World War III, and I'm gonna break it up. I'm pretty cool with Putin. I'm really cool with Kim Jong Un. I had a great conversation with him before, and I'm pretty sure we'll have a great conversation again, and we'll just get this all simmered down, and this and that. But hey, they haven't fulfilled their dreams, their enterprise, right? The New World Order still has to get pushed forward, so that's not gonna happen, right? Plus, that's not the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So he's speaking nonsense, right? While they are saying peace and safety, all is well, right? Hey, just don't worry about it. I know there's unemployment, there's jobs and things, but we're gonna figure out ways to come in and cut taxes and do this and do that, and hey, we're gonna find a way that things can happen, and we're gonna make America great again, and we're gonna make things. Hey, what do you say? Something about the golden age? We're gonna call it the golden age. It's gonna be the golden age all over again, right? You know what I'm saying? It sounds good. Everything is well and secure. See, everything. Hey, man, everything's good. We got this all secure. Don't worry about it, man. We got this. Then, in a moment, unforeseen destruction, and that's where they're gonna get you at. Boom. Oh wait, we let all these terrorists in. See, it was the Biden administration. It was the Biden administration. So now we need to get these digital tags on everybody, basically like what the guy was saying, which I was already saying that too. Because you can't forget that Trump was the main one speaking about Operation Warp Speed. Most of what Operation Warp Speed was digital IDs, right? That's what they wanted for all the people from the border. That's why his whole thing is to attack the border. And if you do the border, now every citizen has to have a digital, right? Because say you want to go, you got your regular passport. Your passport just has your picture and a bunch of stamps in it, and that's it. Now, if you want to go out, now it's going to have to be a digital joint with all your information, with all the things, and a way that it could track you, right? Via GPS, through the micro C-hip, right? So, I mean, because now it's going to be all this unforeseen destruction. Oh my God, it could blow any time. It could, you know what I'm saying, look what happened in New Orleans, and look what happened in Vegas, and they said it was linked, and then they turned around and said it wasn't linked. But then there's a guy who said later on you'll find out that it will be linked together. So how do you know all this stuff, right? And they got so-called artificial alien technology that makes the aircrafts hover as if they are UFOs, but they may. So now you got to look in the sky and go, well, is that a chariot or not a chariot, or what is that? And you're gonna have to second guess, and you're gonna have to really look at things carefully, discerning what they really are, because this is gonna be that deep fake. You're living in a deep fake society right now, where everything could be anything and everything could be scripted. You know what I mean? You don't know if it's real or not. And this is the time that they've always spoken of. Yeah, there's going to be a time that you cannot believe everything you hear and only believe half of what you see. And that is the time where we're fastly approaching in. Right? While come upon them suddenly the laborers, see, going into your unemployment, the laborers pains, labor pains, like the labor pains of a woman, right? And that goes, because I mean, no, it's speaking of it like labor pains like a woman, but what's going to happen to the laborers, right? Because everything is going to be almost like contractions. Different workplaces are going to be letting off people, and as this thing happens, and people are getting let off these jobs and let off this job, and this happening, it's going to be almost like a woman giving birth to this thing explodes, and people are rioting and fighting and doing all sorts of manner of different things, which are going to turn this place into chaos, right? Like a woman, like labor pains of a woman with child, and they will absolutely not escape, right? For there will be no way to escape the judgment of the Lord. See? And ultimately, a lot of people are gonna die. A lot of people are gonna die in these race wars. A lot of people are gonna die in the famines. Yeah, it says verse 4. I'm still going this amplified. But you believers, right, which are the Israelites, you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, right, the only ones who truly are believers, right? All you who believe in Hamashiach as Savior and acknowledge him as the Most High, Yahweh's Son, right? Not that they're the same person. We acknowledge that he is the Son of the Most High, are not in spiritual darkness. See, because we know what's going on. We can see what's about to happen. Though the children of this world, they're wiser than the children of light. A lot of them can see what's going on. As you can see, this dude is what perceived to be an Edomite, right? The redacted guy. And these other Edomites coming on his show, showing, hey, look, we know this is all a psyop. They're trying to prepare these different things, basically showing you they're trying to bring in the New World Order, which, I mean, obviously it's going to happen regardless, because that's but it's for you to know. It's for you to know what's going on, what for you to do, so that you're not in spiritual darkness, or not in spiritual darkness, nor held by the powers, by its power, that the day of judgment would overtake you by surprise, like a thief. See, we're prepared for the Lord to come, so we're not gonna be, oh shoot, he caught us like a thief in the night. Oh, I didn't know he was coming unexpectedly. Oh, bow. Oh, now you're being judged. No, your thing is to be circumspect, paying attention, knowing what's going on. For you are all sons of light and sons of day. We do not belong to the night nor to darkness. See, and that's ultimately with the mindset that we're in. That's where we're at spiritually, Lord willing. Yeah. So this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6. I'm still finna go in this amplified. It says, while all these victims, right? See, ultimately that's what you people are. You know what I mean? Because government means mind control, and a lot of you are just victims of this mind control of his greed, right? And of the greed of the elites, man, right? Because they have an insatiable appetite that cannot be fulfilled, right? They basically have all the world and more than hearts could wish, but they want more than that. They want your soul. They want everything, right? They want to be God, right? And so you're a victim of his greed. Not take, says of his greed, not take up a taunting song against him. So I mean, people are gonna be saying, singing chants, give me freedom, give me death. Those are like a chant, like a song, right? We want jobs. We want jobs. You know what I mean? Give me liberty or give me death. Give me jobs. Right? And, basically like protesting. Right? That's basically like a taunting song against him. And in mocking this derision against him, saying, woe, judgment is come to him who increaseth that which is not his. And that's ultimately how Esau's gotten the world, by the sword. That's why he said, the earth is given to the hands of the wicked. He covered the face of the judges thereof. If not, where, who is he? How did he get the world? How did he get the world? The Lord, the blessing that Isaac gave him was the sword. He said, you should get the fatness of the earth by the sword, right? And that increaseth that which is not his. How long will he possess it? And woe to him who make himself wealthy with loans. And that's ultimately this system right here. The American system is built off of loans, right? And so they basically, every U.S. citizen has a debt, and basically it's a debt you could never pay off, right? From the time you're born. So it's only for that 1% so that they can get rich. So during the CV19, during the pandemic, the rich got richer, right? During that time, right? Through that system, transfer of wealth, right? So they got wealthy with loans, and your creditors not raised will when your creditors not raise up suddenly, right? And that's you people, when you not raise up suddenly and start rioting and basically going without order, right? In order for them to have order out of chaos, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to raise up suddenly, and those who collect from you awaken when you become plunder for them. So then people are going to be rioting, trying to steal from the stores, this and that. They're going to have the martial law. They're going to bring in the military, block off all the stores and stuff after people are robbing the stores and this and that. But the elite plans on that happening, man. Because what are you going to steal it for? For what? A super big screen TV like it used to be. I mean, you're talking a 60, 70 inch. Right now, it's like $300 or $400, maybe $600. So it's not even like how it used to be when those TVs were thousands and thousands of dollars. So they basically have plans for you to go in there and steal a couple of TVs and maybe a couple washers and dryers and or something like that. And they have plans for you to do it, but that's you plundering. You're gonna go in there and steal a couple of foods, this and that. Then they're gonna lock it down. And locking it down, right? And with them locking it down, and not to mention was that thick clay, right? When you go into the understanding, right? In in the Hebrew, well, I believe this is like the Assyrian Hebrew, but it's still Hebrew. But that thick clay goes into what? A weight of a pledge, right? So when you go into Deuteronomy, it talks about the pledge. So you take a family heirloom. Say you need some money, you take a family heirloom or whatever to someone and say, hey, I need money for doing this and that, or I need time to pay you back. So you give them the heirloom or whatever, and maybe you work off whatever you owe them as like a, as a like a slave or indentured servant type situation. So you pay it off so you can get your heirloom back from them, or you give them the heirloom until you can go somewhere else and make the money and come back and pay them the money to get your heirloom back. Basically like a pawn shop. See, it says pawned goods. See, so it's basically giving you to understand it's almost like a pawn shop, but they used to do that amongst Israelites, right? That's what you would do to help your brother get by. You know what I mean, so to speak. But it ain't to put you into bondage, And in this case, the way the elite sets it up, they sets it up to put you into bondage. It says, and heavy debt, right? Yeah. So this is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7. It says the rich ruleth over the poor, right? And we know that this ultimately, where, like I said, the rich is getting richer, even through the pandemic. The rich got richer basically through that whole situation, wiping out the middle class, all these type of things that were happening, and they got richer, right? And that's the thing and that's another song too, right? When it says that should they not come at them with a taunting song, that's a taunting song too, to say, man, the rich get richer and the poor get poor. What's going on? Why is this happening? The rich get rich and the poor get. That's a taunting song. And this is things that people are saying against these elites, man, these rich. But that they don't give a damn, right? Because the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender, which basically means a slave, right? Let's see. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender. Let's see if I can get it. What it look like in the NLT. Yeah, it still says servant. I want to see. Go back. See it. Nobody want to give it to you. Oh, it's like it. Nobody want to give it to you straight up, huh? Let's see. NIV. Maybe the NIV will give it to you the right way. Yeah, there it is. There it is, right there. The NIV gave it to you the right way. It says the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. See, and ultimately that's what their whole thing is, to basically make every U.S. citizen a debt slave. But everything is going digital. Everything is going digital, whether you know it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you accept it or not. That doesn't change the future, right? The future of unemployment, right? Like we read in that scripture of that future of unemployment, and the future of unemployment goes into this digital identification, which that guy was speaking about. Because when you got an uncertainty of life and not knowing where your next meal's coming from and knowing where this is coming from, right? When they're telling you they're going to give you a universal basic income, which you'll have a basic income, every citizen will have it, which would you'll be a citizen of the universe, basically, so to speak, right? Though you can't really ever travel outside the atmosphere, right? And you won't be able to travel probably even outside of your neighborhood, right? Dealing with the 15-minute cities that they want to implement also. So you're going to be a global citizen or a universal citizen, but you won't see much of the universe, right? But you will be a slave to the lender, right? Right, when that's the international bankers, because they lend to these countries, and these countries, if you go look at the U.S. debt, it's far beyond what they say. It's not 30 trillion, it's like 200 or 300 trillion, right? I mean, it's some ridiculous number, which they can never pay back. So they're going to pay it back with the citizens, right? Making you what? Debt slaves, right? And it says, whosoever soweth unjust reapeth calamity, and the rod they wield in fury will be broken. See? And that's ultimately what they're going to come down. They're going to come down with great wrath, knowing that they got but a short time. But you know who it's not going to win against? It's not going to win against the elect, and not to mention Yahweh Shai is coming to fight with them, right? Yahweh Shai is coming to fight with them, and so their whole thing is not going to win. He that soweth iniquity and reap vanity, the rod of his anger, right? Because he's coming down with great wrath, knowing that he had but a short time. That's what it says. He's angered, right? And he's in rulership right now. So he basically reels the rod, right? Of his anger shall fail, right? It's gonna fail, man. This whole thing is actually gonna fail, but it's gonna be working for a while, for some time period, because people are in gross darkness. So even though this guy is putting out this thing and warning you, and you got the men of the Lord out there and they're warning you, hey, it's Bible prophecy. It said the world, this is what John seen, and that's prophecy. It has to come to pass. Yeah, so this is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 5. O Assyrian, right? I was saying America is also known as Assyria. So this is because right now that's what America is. Because it says, "O Assyrian, the rod of my anger." So the Lord has used the self-proclaimed so-called white man Esau Edom as his rod, right? As his whooping stick against you Israelites, and really against the whole entire world. But he's been dealing. His judgments have been unjust, right? He has shrewdly, right? So he ruled with swift, hard, powerful judgment, but then it's always unjust in the way that he's doing it. He's not ruling justly, right? So, but the Lord did set him up as to be the rod of his anger against, ultimately, to you Israelites, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, but also into the world. So, O Assyrian, the rod of my anger, and the staff in their hand is my indignation. So, right, it's ultimately meant to be the Lord's anger towards the Israelites and towards you other nations. So when Esau was in your country doing certain things, he was supposed to bring down the hammer, right? But the hammer is going to be broken asunder, right? He bringing down the hammer, overdoing it, man. Overusing his power. The Lord didn't set him up to do the type of things, punish the people, do a little something just to let them know so people can fear, right? And just put them back in line as far as, all the wickedness is going in the earth. But Sefer, they're the ones perpetuating the wickedness and then going around the world acting like they're the judge, which make you unjust, right? I will send him against an hypocritical nation and against the people of my wrath, right? That hypocritical nation, which would be the Israelites, but a lot of you people in the world, right? And it says, and I will give him charge, right? Which means like a commandment, right? To take spoil and to take the prey and to tread them down like the mire of the streets. So the Lord basically gave the Edomite this power to govern over the world. And yeah, maybe he was supposed to do a little this, do a little that, but instead he does it excessively. He does it with this entire greed that was pretty much unnecessary, right? It says, if thieves come, so this is what I'm saying, because this is the Lord speaking to Esau, Edom. If thieves come, and if robbers by night, right, somebody come steal from you, do whatever they're going to do. See, the Lord made them to be the rod of the Lord's anger and to basically do it to the whole entire world, but especially to his people, right, to the Israelites, because the Lord is angry with the Israelites for worshiping other gods. Seeing what they were supposed to do is whip them into shape, do this, and that, and then step back and say, hey, guys, you are the Israelites. Here's the true name of the Most High, which his real name is Yahweh. His son's name is Yahweh Shai. Here's some funds. Here's some money. And we'll put you back up. But the Lord knew they wasn't going to do that. That's the reason why the Lord said that no man shall buy you, which means redeem you, save you, right? Because we're redeemed by the blood of Yahweh Shai. So he's already basically put down his payment, and it's almost like, I mean, like I was I used as an example before in the lesson. It's almost like, you're buying your stuff from Amazon or whatever. So that's kind of like what Yahweh Shai did. He paid for his thing. He's waiting for it to come into the mail through Amazon. But then Esau's like a sort of like in a sense, like being like a porch pirate. He's going over there and grabbing the stuff off the porches and running with it. But the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. So you know how everybody have all these Ring cameras and all these different cameras, which kind of symbolizes eyes in Esau's kingdom, right? And that's how Esau, supposed to so-called all have all his power through all these different eyes, right? Which are these cameras. But the Lord don't need any of that. He actually have actual eyes, angels. He has all sorts of different things and ways. And the Lord can see through your eyes. The Lord can see your mind, your thoughts. So, I mean, the Lord is the Father of spirits. So it's nothing that gets past the Lord. But then it actually even gets reported. So the Lord can see through your eyes, see through your mind, see what you've done. And then the angel also comes back and reported, yep, Lord, at such and such time, blah, 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 this was done here, you know what I mean? And reports it back to the Most High, Yahweh, and through his son, Yahweh Shai, right? So these are things that's always constantly happening. So, but the Lord is basically, in a way, if you read this, it's almost like he's scolding them. You know what I mean? He's saying, look, if thieves come to thee, and if robbers by night, how are thus cut off, man? How in the world that I set you up as the ruler? I set you up as the rod of my anger for you to go through this, and you can rob. You could, it just said, take the spoils, to make a prey, do the things that you need to do. But you do excessively. Watch, he's gonna prove that he did it way more than he needed to do it, right? Why? Oh, so would they not have stolen till they had enough? So you go through this. I made you the ruler over the world. I made you the manager over the world, or the landlord over the world, right? Which that's what steward means, right? To be basically like a landlord over the world. right? So I made you the steward over the world. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of, and even right there, he covered over the faces of the judges thereof, if not, and where, who is he? Showing that you are the wicked, right? But he's like, I gave you the rulership over the world, and then what do you do with it? Would they have not stolen till they have had enough? Like the Lord is like, he's chastening Esau with this, man. Even now, it's like the Lord speaking to him like a father. Wouldn't they have stolen till they had enough? And if grape grabbers come unto thee, would they not have left some grapes? Right? Why do you go through and you leave nothing? You absolutely pillage, still pillage. You leave absolutely nothing. But then at the same time, you still want to be rulership over the world. But that's why the Lord said, look, even in your anger, your rod is going to get broken. Right? Even though I set you up to show that I put you in the power seat, I'm going to come take that away from you. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are the hidden things sought up? See? And so we can go through that thing and understand that so this is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 22. Sound a battle, right? And that's ultimately what's coming to this place, man. Right? It's going to be all sorts of battle, race wars, and all sorts of things going to happen. But ultimately, that final battle, right? World War III, the missiles are going to get shot on this place. The angels are going to come shoot laser beams on this place, right? An ultimate battle is about to happen, man. A sound of battle is in the land, and a great destruction, right? To America, Babylon the Great. It's going to be the greatest destruction, but this whole entire Edomite system and just the system in general, right? The North's not going to leave any other government intact just because he's taken down Esau, Edom, right? Because after you take down, the so-called Western Edomites, then you got to take down Russia, which are Edomites. Then, of course, China and all these other, they all gotta come down. They all gotta be dismantled because they thinking they're the next to rule, right? It says, how is the hammer, right? Because the Lord gave him that power to be the hammer of the whole earth. So how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder? See, and ultimately that's what's gonna happen, man, because the Lord. It gave you the thing, but what you do is you stole the uranium, petroleum, and vibranium, and iridium, and all sorts of whatever else you could just steal, and then you've already plundered Levi, and you're still over in Haiti plundering them, right? I mean, if you've already stolen, when you leave something, once you leave something for the poor people, you done stole all the stuff in Venezuela, and you're still over there trying to steal the stuff from Venezuela. Once you know what I'm saying? I know I told you they were the people of my wrath. I know I told you that the situation is, I gave you the power because they were worshiping other gods, but God dang, wouldn't you leave them something? Wouldn't a thief come and leave something? Wouldn't a person who gleans some great, wouldn't they leave something? But you don't leave nothing. So that's why I said, how was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon, right, which is America, Babylon the Great, come to desolation amongst the nations? See? Hey, and that's ultimately how you're going to come to desolation. But not before you make everyone what? Debt slaves, going back to what we were talking about, right? The slave, the borrower is slave to the lender, right? This is Deuteronomy 15 and 17. Then you shall take an awl, right, which is like an earring, and put it through the ear into the door, and he shall be your slave forever. And that's ultimately what Esau is. That's the plans into making everyone his slave forever, right? Giving you a digital all, right? Which meaning your debt, your digital debt, your digital currency is your digital debt, and that you basically become part of the matrix. You become part of the system, right? Right? You become part of the commodity of the system, and you can't operate in or around the system without this digital all, without knowing, without ownership, right? Without knowing that the international bankers are owners, or their ownership of you. So put the all in through the ear in the door, and he shall be your slave forever, and to your female slaves, see, you shall do the same. So he had planned on doing it to the same to everyone going into this digital all. Yeah, so this is Revelation chapter 13 verse 16. I'm doing the ESV. It says, also it causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, both free and slave, right? Because ultimately, when you're in the prison system, whether you know it or not, you're basically a slave once you're in the prison system. But also what? That being that they're putting you into the debt system, the debt system is also going to make you a slave to be made, to be marked on the right hand or in the forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark that is the number of the beast and the number of his name, right? And then let's go into the King James versions. And to that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, right? And then we already know that the numeric digital code, right? When you go into the scanning code, all of it has 666 on the scanning code, right? But how much more when you're dealing with something to buy or sell with, right? So it has to be the digital currency, right? So it says and here is wisdom. Let him that understand count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and his number is 666, right? Which right here they take 666. Says, and this calls for wisdom. Let one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number, his number is 666, right? So we know that numeric code, barcode system, right? Which when you go into the word mark, it's a charagma.
Strong's G 5480. Charagma.
Yeah, charagma, right? A stamp, imprinted mark, right? Basically, representing ownership, right? It says, I like this one when it says right here, B. B says a mark branded upon horses. And then I don't know if you know anything about the digital micro C-hip. The one thing that they put it on first were horses or animals, which in animals are known as what? Beast, right? So I mean there's a crazy similarity to that, right? Because animals are called beast. A horse is called a beast, right? A horse is known as a beast. So if they used to put actual, they'll put like a signet, right? And burn it into an iron and burn it on some fire for a very long time, and then take it and then sear the horse with the mark. But we know that we're all in the digital age now. Everything's becoming digital, which is a lot easier, a lot faster, right? That all you got to do is swipe a thing, and all the information to come up about that individual animal or that individual person now, right? So we know that's ultimately because they tell a badge of the followers of well, there's many antichrist. This whole system is antichrist. So there's not one specific person that's an antichrist, right? The system is antichrist, right? Esau in itself, in the way he sets up a system, is an antichrist, right? Right? And you have to have that by a delivery system, which is the Karax is the delivery system by how it will get to you, right? Because that's why I said a Karax.
Strong's G 5482. Karax. Karax.
A stake, a palisade, through the idea of scratching, right? So it's not just going to be, oh, you're just putting it in it. It's going to be like, like almost like what it's saying, like a putting it through, chiseling or putting it through. Because, right, it's, what's one of the ones, because it gives like an example. Pale through the earth, right? And then we know that your body is what made of the earth, right? So it's a sharp point that pales through like a stake, like a you have a vampire, you have a stake, you have to hit the stake supposedly, and peel it through the vampire's heart, right? Just to kind of give you an understanding of that, because it's saying timber and put up and pack together, trench. Yeah, to sharpen to a point, right? Which, I mean, what's gonna pierce you like an earring, right? It says to pierce, like an all digital, all pierce, right? So it's almost like a delivery system, a needle, something that kind of sticks you. Man, they had those what's it called? Those guns, right? And I believe you could just use that gun, the earring gun, and pierce it through your hand, right? And then of course you got the new test runs that they did through what's his name? Is it Elon Musk? I believe the brain chipping. I believe it's Elon Musk. Yeah, they did the brain chipping, right? which they finally did human trials for the brain chipping. So you get that's a whole different delivery system. But nonetheless, what are you using? Different sharp instruments to cut open the head, sharp to put it down in there, point it in, regardless what however you want to say it, right? And then once you get all that thing has to have what information on it, right? Which that's
Strong's G 1125. Grapho.
And that's grapho to write or to with reference to from of the letters on a tablet, parchment paper, or other material. And see, and then a microchip is a whole nother material, right? Even though there's like a little small tiny motherboard, right? It's very small, but it's capable of housing tremendous information, right? Because like where does it go? Right here. To commit to writing things not to be forgotten, write down, or it says records. So even though the thing is like a small size of a grain of rice, it has tremendous records power, or has tremendous abilities to have a lot of records on it. And that's ultimately what this thing is coming in as a way of having this fear of all these migrants coming in and bombings and this and that, and uncertainty of your job and this and that, and then the uncertainty of peace and safety and all of a sudden destruction. People are going to be willing to give up their freedoms in order to have some type of stability or some type of safety, right? And which the gross darkness of the people, the lack of understanding of the importance of fighting against this situation and against this system, the importance, you don't know. You don't have the ability. You don't have the Holy Spirit, right? So with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles in Connecticut, to the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect. The elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To your sisters, you Akwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. And the Baba Ball, Kwame Asharallah.